Let's get into Vayyiqra chapter 14. That is Leviticus chapter 14. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, This shall be the Torah of the leper for the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought to the Kohen, and the Kohen shall go out of the camp, and the Kohen shall look and see. If the leprosy is healed, then they shall command that he take for him 2 live clean birds, cedar wood, scarlet, and hyssop. And the Kohen shall command, he shall kill one of the birds in the earthen vessel over running water. Let him take the live bird and the cedar wood, and the scarlet and the hyssop, and dip them, and the live bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed from the leprosy. And they shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the live bird loose in the open field. He who is to be cleansed shall wash his garments, shave all of his hair, wash himself in water, and be clean. Then after that he comes into the camp, but shall stay outside his tent for 7 days. On that 7th day it shall be that he shaves all the hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shaves off. And he shall wash his garments, and wash his body in water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he takes 2 male lambs, perfect ones, and 1 ewe lamb, a year old, and a perfect one, and 3/10 part of fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, and 1 log of oil. And the Kohen who is cleansing shall present the man who is to be cleansed with these before Yah at the door of the tent of appointment. And the Kohen shall take 1 male lamb, and bring it as a guilt offering, and the log of oil, and wave them as a wave offering before Yah. And he shall slaughter the lamb in the place where he slaughters the sin offering and the burnt offering, in a Kodesh place. For the guilt offering, like the sin offering, belongs to the Kohen. It is the most Kodesh. And the Kohen shall take some of the blood of the guilt offering, put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be clean, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. The Kohen shall take some of the log of oil, and pour it into the palm of his own left hand, and dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before Yah. The rest of the oil in his hand he puts some of the right ear, and the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot, on him who is to be clean, and on the blood of the guilt offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the Kohen's hand he puts on the head of him who is to be cleansed. And the Kohen shall make atonement for him before Yah. And the Kohen shall make the sin offering, and make atonement for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanliness. Then afterwards he slaughters the burnt offering, and the Kohen shall offer the burnt offering and grain offering on the altar, and the Kohen shall make atonement for him, and he shall be clean. If he is poor and is unable to afford it, then he shall take 1 male lamb as a guilt offering to be waved, and to make atonement for him, 1/10 part of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, such as he is able to afford. And 1 shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them to the Kohen on the 8th day of his cleansing, to the door of the tent of appointment before Yah. And the Kohen shall take the lamb of the guilt offering and the log of oil, and they shall wave them as a wave offering before Yah. And he shall slaughter the lamb of the guilt offering, and the Kohen shall take some of the blood of the guilt offering, and put it on the right tip of the right ear, and the thumb on the right hand, and the big toe on his right foot of the one to be cleansed. And then the Kohen pours some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand. The Kohen shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before Yah. And the Kohen shall put some of the oil that is in his hand on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, the thumb on the right hand, and the big toe on his right foot, on the place of the blood of the guilt offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the Kohen's hand he puts on the head of him who is to be cleansed, to make atonement for him before Yah. And he shall prepare 1 of the turtle doves or young pigeons, the one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering with the grain offering. And the Kohen shall make atonement for him who is to be cleansed before Yah. This is the Torah of the one who had an infection of leprosy, and who is unable to afford for his cleansing. Yah spoke to Moshe and to Aaron and said, when you come into the land of Canaan, which I am giving you as a possession, I'll put a plague of leprosy in a house in the land of your possession. Then shall the one who owns the house come and inform the Kohen and say, it seems to me that there is some plague. And the Kohen shall command, and they shall empty the house before. And the Kohen goes and looks at the plague, so that all that is in his house is not made unclean. And after the Kohen goes in and looks at the house, he shall look at the plague and see. The plague is on the walls of the house with sunken places, greenish or reddish, which appear to be deep in the wall. Then the Kohen shall go out of the house and to the door of the house, and shut the house for 7 days. And then they'll come back and look at the 7th day and see if the plague has spread on the walls of the house. Then the Kohen shall command, and they shall remove the stones with the plague that's in them, and they shall throw them outside the city. It's an unclean place. While he lets the house be scraped inside all around, and the dust that they scrape off they shall pour out in an unclean place outside the city. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of the stones, and take other mortar and plaster of the house. And if the plague comes back and breaks out in the house, after he has removed the stones, after he's scraped the house, and after he has plastered it, they'll come look and see, and if it's spread, it's active leprosy in the house, and it is unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones and its timber, all the plaster, bring all of it outside the city to an unclean place. He who goes into the house all the days while it is shut up becomes unclean till evening. And he who lies down in the house has to wash his garment, and he who eats in the house has to wash his garment. However, if the Kohen indeed comes in and looks at it and sees that it is not spread, the house remains clean and is pronounced clean. The plague is healed. And to cleanse the house, he shall take 2 birds, cedar wood, scarlet, hyssop, kill one of the birds over running water, and he shall take the cedar and the hyssop and scarlet and the live bird, dip them in the blood of the slain bird and the running water, and he shall sprinkle the house 7 times. He shall thus cleanse the house with the blood of the bird and the running water and the live bird, and with the cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet. And he shall let the live bird loose outside the city in the open field, and make atonement for the house. It shall be clean. This is the Torah of an infection of leprosy and eruption, and for leprosy of a garment and of a house, and for a swelling and a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the Torah of leprosy. Chapter 15. And Yah spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and say, when any man has a discharge from his flesh, his discharge is unclean. And this is his uncleanliness in regard to his discharge, whether its flesh runs with the discharge, or his flesh is stopped up by the discharge, it is his uncleanliness. And any bed becomes unclean on which he who has the discharge lies on it, and any object on which he sits becomes unclean. Anyone who touches his bed has to wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. He who sits on any object on which he who had the discharge sat has to wash his garments and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And he who touches the flesh of him who has the discharge has to wash his garments and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And when he who has the discharge spits on him who is clean, then he shall wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean till evening. Any saddle on which he who has the discharge rides become unclean. Whoever touches any of that which was under him is unclean. And he who is carrying them up has to wash his garments and shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Anyone who has the discharge touches without rinsing his hands shall wash his garment, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And the earthen vessel which he who has the discharge touches has to be broken. Every wooden vessel has to be rinsed in water. And when he who has a discharge is cleansed of his discharge, then he shall count for himself 7 days for his cleaning, and shall wash his garments, and shall bathe his flesh in running water, and be clean. And on the 8th day he takes for himself 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and shall come before Yah to the door of the tent of appointment, and shall give them to the Kohen. And the Kohen shall prepare them, the one as a sin offering, the other as a burnt offering, and the Kohen shall make atonement for him before Yah because of his discharge. And when a man has an emission of semen, then he shall wash all of his flesh in water, and be unclean until evening. Any garment and any leather on which there is semen shall also be washed with water, and be unclean until evening. When a woman lies with a man, and there is an emission of semen, they both shall bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. When a woman has a discharge, and the discharge from her flesh is blood, she has to be in separation for 7 days. Whoever touches her is unclean until evening. Whatever she lies on during this separation is unclean, and whatever she sits on is unclean. Anyone who touches her bed has to wash his clothes and bathe in water, and be unclean till evening. And whoever touches any object that she sat on has to wash his garments, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And if it is on the bed or on any object on which she sits, when he touches it, he is unclean till evening. And if any man lies with her at all, and her monthly flow is on him, he will be unclean for 7 days, and any bed he lies on is unclean. And when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days, other than at the time of her monthly separation, or when she discharges beyond her usual time of month, all the days of her unclean discharge shall be as the days of her monthly separation. She's unclean. Any bed on which she lies, and the discharge is on the bed, whatever she sits on, as her uncleanliness of her monthly separation, and anyone who touches them is unclean, shall wash their garments, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. If she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days. After that she's clean. And on the 8th day she takes for herself 2 turtle doves, 2 young pigeons, and shall bring them to the Kohen, to the door of the tent of appointment. And the Kohen shall prepare the one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering. The Kohen shall make atonement for her before Yah for the discharge of her uncleanliness. Thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, or else they'll die in their uncleanness. When they defile my Mishkan, which is in their midst, this is the Torah of one who has a discharge, and for him who emits semen, and is unclean thereby, and for her who is sick in her monthly separation, and for one who has a discharge, either man or woman, and for him who lies with an unclean woman. Chapter 16. Yah spoke to Moshe after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, and when they drew near before Yah, he died. Yah said to Moshe, Speak to Aaron your brother not to come in at all times to the Kodesh place inside the veil before the lid of atonement which is on the ark, lest he die. Because I appear in the cloud above the lid of atonement. With this Aaron should come into the Kodesh place with the blood of a young bull as a sin offering, and of a ram as a burnt offering. He should put on the Kodesh linen long shirt with linen trousers on his flesh, and gird himself with a girdle, and be dressed with a linen turban. They are Kodesh garments. And he shall bathe his body in water, shall put them on. From the congregation of the children of Israel he takes 2 male goats as a sin offering, and 1 ram as a burnt offering. And Aaron shall bring the bull as a sin offering which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats, and let them stand before Yah at the door of the tent of appointment. Aaron shall cast lots for the 2 goats, a lot for Yah, and the other lot for Azazel. And Aaron shall bring the goat on which the lot for Yah fell, and shall prepare it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot of Azazel fell is caused to stand alive before Yah to make atonement upon it, and to send it into the wilderness of Azazel. And Aaron shall bring the bull of the sin offering which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. He shall slaughter the bull as the sin offering which is for himself, and shall take a fire holder filled with burning coals of fire from the altar before Yah, with his hands filled with sweet incense beaten fine, and shall bring it inside the veil. He shall put the incense on the fire before Yah, and the cloud of incense shall cover the lid of atonement, which is on the witness, lest he die. And he shall take some of the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it with his finger on the lid of atonement, on the east side, also in front of the lid of atonement. He sprinkles some of the blood with his finger 7 times, and he shall slaughter the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, and shall bring its blood inside the veil, and shall do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bull. He'll sprinkle on the lid of atonement and in front of the lid of atonement. He shall make atonement for the Kodesh place because of the uncleanliness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions and all their sins, and so he does for the tent of appointment, which is dwelling with them in the midst of their uncleanness. And no man should be in the tent of appointment when he goes in to make atonement for the Kodesh place, until he comes out. And he shall make atonement for himself, his household, and for the assembly of Israel. He shall go out in the altar that is before Yah and make atonement for it. He shall take some of the blood of the bull and some of the blood of the goat, and put it on the horns of the altar all around. And he shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and kadosh it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And when he has finished atoning for the Kodesh place and the tent of appointment and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. Then Aaron shall lay both his hands on the head of the live goat, and confess over it all the wickedness of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions and all their sins, and shall put them on the head of the goat, and shall send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a fit man. And the goat shall bear on itself all of the wickedness to a land cut off. Thus he shall send the goat away. Aaron shall come then into the tent of appointment, and shall take off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the Kodesh place, and shall leave them there. And he shall bathe his body in water in the Kodesh place, and shall put on his garments, and shall come out and prepare his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people, and burn the fat of the sin offering on the altar. And he who sent away the goat to Azazel washes his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterwards he comes into the camp. And the bull for the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought in to make atonement in the Kodesh place, is brought outside the camp. And they shall burn their skins, and their flesh, and their dung with fire. And he who burns them washes his garments, and shall bathe his body in water. And afterward he comes into the camp. And this shall be for you a law forever in the 7th month. And on the 10th day of the month you afflict your beings, and do no work. The native of the stranger who sojourns among you, for on that day he makes atonement for you, to cleanse you, and to be clean from all your sins before Yah. It is a Sabbath of rest for you, and you shall afflict your beings, a law forever. And the Kohen who is anointed and ordained to serve as Kohen in his father's place shall make atonement, and shall put on the linen garments, the Kodesh garments, and he shall make atonement for the Kodesh Mishkash, and make atonement for the tent of appointment, and for the altar, and make atonement for the Kohanim and all the people of the assembly. The Kodesh Mikdash is the holy temple. Okay, and this shall be for you a law forever, to make atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year. And he did as Yah has commanded Moshe. Chapter 17. Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron, to his sons, and to all of his children, or all the children of Israel, and say, This is the word which Yah has commanded. Any man from the house of Israel who slaughters a bull or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or slaughters it outside, and does not bring it to the door of the tent of appointment as an offering to Yah before the temple of Yah, blood guilt is reckoned to that man. He has shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. In order that the children of Israel bring their slaughterings which they slaughter in the open field, they shall bring them to Yah at the door of the tent of appointment to the Kohen, and slaughter them as a peace offering to Yah. And the Kohen shall sprinkle the blood on the altar of Yah at the door of the tent of appointment, and shall burn the fat for a sweet fragrance to Yah. And let them no longer slaughter their slaughterings to demons, after whom they whored. This is a law forever for them throughout the generations. And say to them, Any man of the house of Israel, or of the strangers who sojourn among you, who offers a burnt offering of slaughtering, and does not bring it to the door of the tent of appointment to do it to Yah, that man shall be cut off from among his people. And any man of the house of Israel, or of the strangers who sojourn among you, who eats any blood, I shall turn my face against that being who eats blood, and shall cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your lives. For it is the blood that makes atonement for the life. Therefore I say to the children of Israel, no being among you eats blood, nor any stranger who sojourns among you eat blood. And any man from the children of Israel, or from the strangers who sojourn among you, who hunts and catches any beast or bird which is eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, its blood is for its life. And I say to the children of Israel, do not eat the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh is in its blood. Anyone eating it is cut off. And any being who eats a carcass, or what was torn by a beast, be he a native or a stranger, he shall wash his garments and bathe in water, and be unclean till evening. Then he shall be clean. And if he does not wash or bathe his body, then he shall bear his wickedness. Hallelujah. That was Vayyiqra Leviticus chapter 14 through 17. Shalom, shalom.